What do you get when you put humans in your self-storage unit? Evicted. Boo! Hello everybody, welcome back to FTB Skies. As you can see, another villager has spawned and he has become the cleric. And this guy has some pretty overpowered traits. So obviously we've got some blaze rods, which I can't actually get in the nether for some reason. I haven't seen any blazes. But he also has some ability totems which give regeneration 1, and I already have 2 of those in me, so I have regeneration 2. But then there's these glistering coarse fruits. Let me show you what happens when I eat one of these. I gain flight. Without an elytra, I have creative flight for 50-something seconds. So just by eating one of these, that only costs 1 emerald. Oh my gosh, that is freaking overpowered. I also made some adjustments to the tree farm. So I have a pipe here, which has a advanced pipe upgrade with oak saplings whitelisted into here. So only those will go, and they then go into this barrel. So that way that they don't just keep overflowing this chest, so I can keep what's important in here. Why is there a pufferfish? Okay, I'll question that later. But this is actually good, and I also realized that I said barrel. I meant to say oak drawer. I didn't mean to say that. So then these things will then get filtered out into here, so as it's needed, it'll then put another one. And because I have those blaze rods, I was able to make an ender chest, which hooks up over to there, which puts bone meal from that into here. And yes, another tree has grown, and that's actually a good thing to demonstrate. The reason I did this whole overarching thing is so that way the trees don't grow too big, because if they grow too big, then they won't be able to cut all the wood because it'll have some branches outside of its work area, and then the leaves won't go, and that would just be a problem. So that's why I built this whole thing. Speaking of problems, we have a little bit of a storage issue. These things have begun to overflow, and it causes them to back up. This is a problem, and all of these things, they're pretty good, but they won't be enough. So it is now time, episode 4, to get to work on a storage system. And after playing Stone Block 3, I actually discovered how good of a thing that refined storage is, so I'm going to be doing that this time. But the way you do that is very interesting in this mod pack, because it looks like for some of the recipes they've kind of combined with applied energetics. So if we look at this controller right here, you know, it has a little bit of a different crafting recipe because it requires these flux crystals, which are from that, which is the other mod. So yeah, we're actually gonna have to kind of do a bit of both. So it's going to be very interesting. So I guess we should start with the controller and its components. So I first am going to need a mechanical base, some of these flux crystals, and these quartz enriched iron. Now, the quartz is actually going to be tricky enough to get on its own because we're actually going to need to sift soul sand. To be able to get soul sand, I'm going to need to use soul soil if I want to automate it, or I could use bulk haunting. So basically, before we can get into a storage system, I have to make something else. So I guess let's first make this encased fan, and then I can give it like some rotational force to it. Probably just a hand crank, because I don't want to automate this too bigly for now. So fortunately, I have some leftover andesite casing from when I was building my house, and I should have a shaft in here. Yes, I do. So that means that the only thing that we're missing for this is this propeller, which takes andesite alloy, which is also very easy to get, and iron plates. And it looks like I can just use a hammer on iron, so that's good. So I just need to make one of those real quick.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So now with this newfound alloy, we can make ourselves the fan. And then we just combine all of these things together, and we have the encased fan. Now, that being said, in order to be able to use this thing to get more soul sand, I am actually going to need soul fire. So in order for me to get soul fire, I need to set soul sand on fire, which means I need to go back to the nether, and I'm also going to need to find a place for this. So let me do all of that, get everything set up in a proper way. It's gonna be good.
Later.
So, I just found something. Apparently, there is actually some soul soil in the nether. So I didn't actually need to do the fan thing. Well, you know what? Maybe it'll be good to have around at some other point, but you know what? I've got the soul soil, so this means then I'm actually going to end up automating the pedestals instead. I mean, I was planning on doing that anyways, but you know what? This is at least good. It's a pleasant surprise, a happy little accident, so yeah, I guess let me do that instead. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, so I should have everything set up now, so all I need to do is just link this one to this pedestal, and then I need to throw this in my offhand, and then, yeah, that should start going in. And yes, we are sifting the soul sand, and the best part is, this only gives me 2 things, at least with my current level of mesh. One is quartz, the other is nether wart, I think. I'm honestly not really certain, but quartz is the only thing I'm really concerned about right now, and that's why I'm not going to be upgrading this chest at this moment in time, because, you know, that would just be a waste of time. So, now that we have some of this quartz, we can actually make some of the quartz iron. And since it only takes 3 of these to be able to make 4, I think it's actually a very fair trade. And I do need the quartz for something else, so for right now we're going to settle for 8. So now that we have the quartz, we need to move on to the fluix crystals. And the way we make these is by going to be throwing some charged Certus quartz crystals with some redstone and a quartz crystal into a thing of fluid, specifically water, because that'll work just fine. Now, fortunately, I have the first 2 things, but it's this charged quartz that we're actually going to need to watch out for. So in order for me to get this, I need to either charge it with a create charger, which will take a lot more stuff than I have, or I can use this charger, which just takes some iron and some copper, which is very easy to get, as well as a wooden crank, which is just copper and some sticks. I think I'm going to go for that. So let me gather up that stuff real quick, and then we can just start to make everything. We got the charger, and we've gotten the crank. There we go. So now all I should need to do is I should just need to find a place for this. I can put that right here. And then as for the crank, I'll probably be on top, I think. Yeah, that looks like the best place for it. Okay, and then I should just need to throw a thing of Certus quartz into there. And then I just turn this 10 times, I think it said. And it should make the thing. Okay, now if I take this thing out, it should make it. Oh, yes, there we go, right as I was saying it. Now we've got the charged Certus quartz. Okay, now I need to check something real quick, because I'm almost certain that those should have been some achievements, and I just haven't gotten any of them. Yeah, oh, I know what it is. I didn't get the Certus quartz dust. Well, I mean, that's fine, since I'm going to be making an inscriber, which is also something that can help me with that. But that won't be happening for a little bit. So first thing we need to do is we need to throw in this with the quartz, and I didn't pick up the redstone. And also that magnet's probably going to be a problem, so I need to take that off too. Throw in the redstone, throw in the quartz, and throw in the crystal. Okay, all of it, fill together, mix and such. Yes! There we go. Now we have the fluix crystals. I'm going to need to repeat that process quite a bit. It should only be once more since I need that, but I am probably going to need it for some more stuff. So I'm just going to make a bunch of this really quick. I'll see you all in maybe a few minutes.
Later.
Alrighty, so I made a good bit of fluix crystals. I have 10 in total, and I also made the inscriber while I was away. It was very simple. It just took some iron, a piece of copper, and 2 sticky pistons. I had pretty much everything, so I decided to make this thing already. So now that we have most of these things down, we just need the machine casing, which takes more quartz-enriched iron and a cable. Oh, I actually have everything I needed for said cables, so now I can just make this, and then that will lead to the controller. Okay, I actually had everything. That is surprising. I'm actually going to need 2 more of these casings, because 2 more of the things on this list will actually take them. So it's going to be good to have those now, and then I can put that cable in there for safekeeping. And I can actually also throw in this Certus quartz right now, so that way it can use up the power within this thing to be able to give me the Certus quartz dust, giving me all of those advancements. That is beautiful. So now that we're done with those portions, we can now move on to the grid. So in order to get the grid, I'm actually going to need to start getting into the processors, which is the stuff that we had beforehand. So to get the gold one, we need pretty much the same recipe as the basic one is gonna be, just instead of enriched quartz iron, it's gonna be gold. So we're going to need processor binding, redstone dust, I have that in abundance, and printed silicone, which is actually why we needed the inscriber. And to be able to get the silicone, I'm going to need the silicone press, which means I'm going to need silicone and paper inside of a smithing table. I think I saw one of those in the Nether Fortress, so I'm going to go pick that back up, and then I'm also going to need to smelt down the quartz to be able to get the silicone. So, hey, actually, this is all working out. So let me gather up all that. This is gonna be interesting.
Much later.
Alrighty, I got the smithing table, and I got some of the silicone, so we can just put those two together, and it makes the press. Now, this thing should be infinite. I don't know for certain, so it should go into one of these two slots. And then we can put another silicone into here, and it'll eat up some of the power. I'm gonna need to keep on cranking this thing. And then eventually it should, yes, it pressed, and there we go. We have the printed silicone. So then I can just keep on putting these things into here, so that way we can get more. We need as many of these things as possible. I am sick of cranking this thing versus actually getting a proper power source. So I think it's time we did. So the way I'm gonna do that is with one of these kinds of dynamos. Now, we have the Sterling Dynamo, which can take, like, burnables and stuff like that, and it's got some pretty good power, but apparently, this one here, the Lapodidry, has much more power output, and I can use gemstones such as diamonds, emeralds, quartz, and also lapis, and each one of those things gives a pretty good amount of power, and it also looks like it may be the cheapest one. So I'm going to be making a Lapodidry Dynamo, and in fact, now that I think about it, I probably was going to have to make one of these things anyways, because I needed to be able to power my refined storage system. So yeah, we're going to need that. So we need 2 lapis, a redstone, 2 iron, a gold gear, and a redstone flux coil. So to get that, we just need more gold and more iron. So yeah, that's going to be good stuff to get. Side note, in case you were wondering, this is what my rain shield looks like when it is raining and it is shielding. It's actually pretty cool.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay, so I have everything I need, but for some reason, there's 2 different recipes for the gold gear. One takes an iron nugget, the other doesn't, and supposedly, it works the same. What? Why there's an extra step? I have no freaking idea, but now we have ourselves the dynamo. Now, I don't know if I have any tools that can turn this. Maybe the pipe wrench will work. It doesn't. That is a shame, so I am going to need an energy pipe. But that's actually a lot cheaper than I was expecting. I already have enough iron, and I have enough redstone. Okay, you know what? I am cool with this. Then we just put that recipe into there, and there we go. We got the energy pipes. So now I can take it from here down into both of these, and then in here I can just put some form of crystal. And I am going to put diamonds, because, you know, why not? We're being powered by diamonds here. This early in the game, we got diamonds. There's no way I ain't powering us with that. So now this thing should be accumulating energy, and as that bar fills up, that's the amount that is currently stored. So if I were to circle on this, the power will now be going into these. And yes, it is. So now I can just keep on putting this thing into here, and it'll just keep on filling it up. Oh my gosh, that is good. I have almost everything I need. I'm just going to be able to get 4 of these processing binds, which takes 2 string for... Oh wow, this recipe's for 8 of them? Oh, this will be good. Okay, so then I just need to get a hold of some slime. Actually, lo and behold, I do have 1 slime ball left. So hopefully that will be all I need, and then I just need 2 string, and I just remembered I should have more of this flax in one of these things. Yeah, there it is. And then throw this into here, and whammo, we've got processing binds. So I need 2 of this one, and then I'm also going to need 2 of the basic one. And then these things just need to be smelted. So we can throw those in like such, and yep, there it goes. And I can actually speed this thing up with my time in a bottle, which I had forgotten to mention. It basically works like the temporal pouch I had in Stone Block 3. So yeah, it's actually very handy to have around. So now that those things should be done, there we go. And each one of these basic ones is going to make the construction core and the destruction core. And I should actually already have everything I need for both of those. I at least have the redstone on me. Oh no, it's glowstone and quartz. I actually don't have those on me, but I do know I have them. So yeah, we got the quartz, and then glowstone should be in this one right here. Yeah, there we go. So we can just throw these things into their proper placements, and there we go. We got all of those. So now I just need glass, which is the easiest thing to get, because I just need to smelt down some sand. And now we just wait for that thing. Or do we? Yes, go, my little speedy arrow. Give me all of the glass that I need. And now we just throw this like that, and we've got ourselves the grid. So now that we have the grid, we just need the disk drive, and we already have almost everything we need. We just need a chest, which I do actually have some spare ones. And then the last thing, which was another advanced processor. Oh, so this is the third kind of those processors that we have. This one takes diamond.
You get the idea.
So now we just throw all that together, and there we go. We got the disk drive, which only leaves the disks. Now, these things are very simple. We just need some more glass, and I actually need some more redstone to hold on to, but I should have plenty of that. But the real kicker is the storage part, which is going to take some more silicone, so I'm actually going to need to inscribe some more of the quartz, and then it also takes some more glass and stuff like that. It's actually pretty simple. So let me grab all that stuff real quick, and then we'll have the storage disk, and then this system will be mostly done.
Much later.
So that should be everything. So now I just need to make the storage part. And the cool thing about these storage parts is you can actually upgrade them to higher tiers of storage to be able to hold more things up to a 64K disk. But I'm not going to be doing that, at least not on screen, because that whole process would be incredibly boring. So with that, the basic components that we're going to need for the storage system are done. So all that's really left will be to find a place for this, and I think there'd be no better place than right here where I put my shulker box, and I actually got this thing from the Nether too. It's very cool. So what we're gonna do is we're going to first put down the controller there, then the grid, and then on top of that, the disk drive. Now normally I like to have this thing underground, but I think, at least for right now, while I have this like this, I'm going to need it exposed. So then when we put that there, that gets power, and then this whole thing is now usable. So then we can throw that into there, and it now has storage space. Oh, wait a minute. I just realized something. I can't have this here, because what I'm thinking of doing requires quite a bit of space. Well, I am going to start transferring a bunch of this stuff into here anyways, so yeah, okay, let me get out of the way what I can, and then we're going to continue on.
20 minutes later.
Alrighty, it took almost all the space I have, but I was able to get everything in here. And it turns out, if you put stuff into a shulker box and then into this, it only counts the shulker box, so it saves a crap ton of space. So, you know, if you thought that these things already saved you space, it's even better when it's modded. The next thing we're going to need is this external storage. And this thing is actually very handy. So all it needs is some of this quartz, 3 more of these things. I think I should have... Actually, I think I have exactly... I do! I have exactly 3 binding processors. So that means I've had exactly everything that I have needed throughout this entire day. And I love it. Okay, and I should have 1 more cable in here as well. Yes, I do. It's just been a good day. Holy crap. And then I can just grab these things, and that should be everything I need. No, I need quartz and some glowstone. Do I have any of that into here? I do, actually. I do have that stuff. Or at least I had the glowstone, didn't have the quartz. Wait, did I? I did. Yes, I have everything. It's all coming full circle.
Oh, yeah. It's all coming together.
And then finally, we have ourselves the external storage. So what this thing actually does is when it's hooked up to another inventory source, as well as a refined storage, it will then take that new storage system into the refined storage without taking up any of the space from the disk drive because it's not in a disk. So why am I going to need this exactly? Well, there is another thing that we need to do in the storage thing, and that's to make this thing called the storage controller. This thing goes with the drawers. So in order to make the storage controller, I need some sort of stone, 2 of the drawers, a redstone comparator, and blocks of quartz. So let me grab that real quick, and I'm also going to need to grab one of these things just so that way I can get the advancements. It's gonna be a good stuff.
Eventually.
I should have everything, so first we can make this simple compacting drawer, and then we can make the drawer controller. Where did my stone go? Alrighty, mistake has been rectified. There we go. Now we have the storage controller. So now we can collect everything from all of these. And this one gives me a configuration tool, which is going to be good to have. And this one gives me a linking tool. And the linking tool is what's going to be used to link this thing to other drawers. Allow me to demonstrate. So let's first make a few drawers, and then we can put these along the sides of this. So if I were to use this configuration tool, it can lock these drawers, so nothing else will be able to be in what those are. But if I use this linking tool and right-click the controller, these things are all now configured to that thing. So what's good about this is if I use this external storage thing on this storage controller, it will also qualify as an inventory source to all of these things. So everything in these drawers will be accessed through this without actually having to be in there. I'm just going to need another pipe, and there should be one for the storage stuff. If I go into cables, yes, there is. There are some extra cables right here. So now I just bring that down and connect it, and now all of this will be connected to that. So if I were to throw, do I have any redstone in there? I don't want it to be confused. I do not. I don't have any redstone. Okay, so if I throw redstone into there, I can now see the redstone, yes, because it is now connected to this. So what I want to do, this won't happen overnight, it won't be just like a one episode thing, but I want to eventually have a giant wall of drawers, each with their own individual item to be held, so that way this thing doesn't take up as much space as it needs to. So it'll only be the bare minimum. Now, I don't know what this whole priority thing means. I'll definitely have to look that whole thing up, because apparently there should be a way where if you, like, put stuff into this, it then goes out into these, and it's supposed to have something to do with this, but I don't remember what that is specifically. So for right now, that's not going to go into place, and you know what? We can just leave that one as the redstone. All redstone will now go into there. So in between episodes, I'm going to expand upon this and just make it better. So that way we'll have this whole storage issue sorted out. And I'm also going to find a way to set up auto smelting for all of this thing. Possibly with this stuff, but soon enough we will get into all of the machine smelters and all that. Mechanism is coming soon, especially since I'm going to want a better power source than this. But yeah, this is the whole storage system basically. I think it looks very nice and it is very cool. So then, all that's really left to do for right now is going to be to just check off all of the achievements I have left. Actually, a bunch of decent stuff, especially some of those drawer upgrades. Those are definitely going to come in handy. And I also got a hovering hourglass for some reason. I'm pretty sure this thing is just an aesthetic. I don't know. It's from Botania, so that may be useful at some point. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into this thing. It may just be nothing, but for right now, I'll just put that away. Still, this was some good progression we've made today. I'm really glad that I finally did this, because now I'm actually going to be able to do some more work in between episodes and being able to fix up all that stuff. Trust me, it's gonna be very sick. So, all that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my last FTB Skies video. Bye-bye!